And welcome back to my Let's Play of Nier. So I guess this person doesn't have anything to say to us, since we got them out. Still got one more in this madhouse to free. Another victim. This work certainly is trying. Yep. I'm surprised, Vice. You're a book. All this word stuff should be right up your alley. Yes, quite. Well, enough chatter. Let's be off. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Luca had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in. Hey, Weiss, we keep walking, but those things don't get any closer. I don't get it. Are they really that big? As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity. Perhaps they are some manner of mirage, he said. Under the sea, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Luca nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Luca lighthearted. Suddenly, he dropped to his knees and slammed his head against the black surface. God damn it, he said, is this some kind of joke? Well, I'm not laughing. The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke, he said? No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. Oh, come on, that's bullshit and you know it. Possibly, but thinking of it this way might make it easier for you to bear. Luca glanced at Weiss's grinning face, cursed silently to himself, and resumed walking. As time passed, Luca's feet grew more painful and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. We're definitely getting closer, said Weiss in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Luca lifted his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. Water, he cried, it's water! Water? Preposterous, I don't see any water. It's right there, idiot. Can't you see it? Look, the sun is reflecting off of it. Without waiting for a response, Luca sprang to life and bounded towards the site. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Luca closed his eyes and Sidus Weiss floated behind him, chuckling softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Luca shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is. I just missed it. Look, it's right there. Luca sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Luca came to a halt. I could have sworn it was right around here. Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Luca and struck him in the face with his cover. You damn blithering idiot, stop this at once! There is no water here! Luca's face clouded. There isn't? There is not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the city of art. Luca looked up. Stretched out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. Their journey was at an end. They're huge, cried Luca, completely forgetting the heat and the pain of the past 3 hours. I've never seen anything so big. Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up towards the sky, but that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected the light in 1,000 directions, while the others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Said Luca. Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere, great iron crates with wheels set silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in thick glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or a purpose to the abstract works around them, Luca and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Luca uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The 3 statues were indistinguishable except for one single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Luca moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. Hey, look at that. They're alive. The triplets bowed low before Luca. Please, you've got to help me get out of this nightmare. I am real. Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Luca and threw his hands in the air. Alpha's a fake, you know. I am the real one. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here. Their respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state, as silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Weiss. Luca furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. Only one form is real. The others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. I don't have a clue. Luca took a long look at the statues and tried to clear his mind. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the form is real, the other is false. The real one is Alpha. The eyes of the statue shone with an eerie light. The light grew stronger and stronger until Luca and Weiss were forced to turn away. Well, that was a mistake. Yeah, we'd best act more carefully next time. This is the worst job ever. How are you supposed to tell just based on one crappy statement? Great, and I have to fucking go through a lot of this shit again. Okay, but here's... Goddamn controller. Yeah, I definitely need to get a new one at some point. Come on. Thank you. Okay, so here's the thing. Alpha never accused anyone of lying, but he's not the real one, so it's either Beta or Gamma. But Beta... It's gotta be Beta then, because he said Alpha is the fake. Alpha is the fake, because Gamma can only be telling lies, because if... Okay, that actually makes sense. That actually makes sense. It's gotta be Beta. Though Luca's voice betrayed a noble lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss in the dry tones of a lecturer, Beta and Gamma would be the fakes, but in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is the fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. To be honest, I see the whole thing, because Alpha couldn't be the real one. Beta... It's either Beta or Gamma, but if Alpha's not the real one, then Gamma's statement is a lie, so... Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with 2 statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume Beta is telling the truth, and if so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Weiss finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Weiss in a cheerful voice. The time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head low as it could go before an uncomfortable Luca pulled him to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Weiss. Have you been to the city before? The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I could have ever been to a place like this, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu. It's just like that damn mayor. The vague sense of unease that struck Luca during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind. Okay, that was terrible. I am positive I have seen that place before. Stop. I get enough foreboding crap from everyone else in my life. Don't you start too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right? Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I may have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much. Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's go see the mayor. Okay, so we got the mayor's task done then? That'd be helpful.
Hello.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you. Nice. Holy crap, I can really have this? Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you again for everything. Yes, thank you. Wait. Faith. It's not as good as the other ones, although it does go very light, so if I can upgrade the power, that would be helpful, but... Oh my god, I've had enough of the maddening... Hopefully, I mean, I know there's gonna be more story-like stuff like that later, but I don't think any word... I'm pretty sure I've never done any of that before, so... Oh my god. I don't even care if that didn't take that much time. Like, I'm totally cool letting this just be its own thing. Just letting it be its own goddamn thing. And for now, I could bring this one to a close and finally go back to the goddamn village. That was a crazy nightmare of stuff. I can't believe the other one was as simple as it was, but... Yep, honestly, I should have thought that one more out, because it makes sense. It makes sense. Because one of them would be telling the truth, and yeah. Either way, and it's like I realized the answer to the riddle and the old man's thing too, even though I should have known that from beforehand. But it's if it has 4 legs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 in the evening. It's a person, because a baby starts off crawling on all 4s. A person after that starts walking on 2 legs, and when you get to the end, you start using a cane and have 3 legs. So it makes sense. But yeah, what else makes sense? Well, the fact that I gotta bring this one to a close for today. So in the meantime, though, if you liked what you saw, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.